Okay, so we're starting off with some things that you will need. You will need a glue gun. I really like this glue gun that has like a finer tip, but use what you can. I'm just mentioning that in case you're going out of your way to like buy a glue gun. I like that. Next thing is a rat tail comb. If you don't have that, that's okay. Just get creative. Like if this will come out of my giant sleeves, maybe the end of like a paintbrush or unfolding a bobby pin. But I really enjoyed having this for separating the fur hairs. The next thing that you'll need is a scissor. Special bonus points if you have like hair cutting scissors, smaller scissors, etc. Because mostly you're going to be using this for the details on like the fur and like for cutting the paper and stuff. Next, what you're going to need is a box cutter. I don't know why I got stuck there. The next thing that you are going to need, and you can get a cheap one. This one was pretty cheap. I think it was like $14 or something on Amazon. It's definitely not the best, but for now, unless like I do venture into like becoming a full-time furry, I think I'll be able to work with this at least until it dies. Next, you're going to need some fabric markers and a Sharpie. Next, you're going to need, oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say about this. If you don't have fabric markers for like white fur, this is mostly what I'm using it for, is like white fur, because on the darker like fur colors, I do have to use a Sharpie. But anyway, you can use a pencil, I've noticed, but the pencil is pretty dark. Anyway, next are these wire cutters. I got these for like $1 at Daiso, I'm pretty sure. If not, I'm pretty sure Harbor Freight has affordable ones. The next thing, this is just extra bonus points. This kind of like helps you bend the wire. I do use it, but I don't know. I think you can wind up using your hands with, I don't find this tool to be that great. I'm probably using it wrong. But anyway, next is a vacuum. I do not have carpet, ladies. Anyway, I do not have carpet. Okay, so I do not have a vacuum. If you have a vacuum, just make sure that you have the like extension nozzle, is that what it's called, ready to go. But if not, I really just want to say very quickly, if you do get a handheld vacuum, don't buy this one. This one is so annoying because you have to press the button as you're sucking, and that just gets obnoxious. It gets really old really fast. So spend the extra money. This one was another one that I just went for the cheapest thing. Don't do that. Oh, and for wire, almost forgot this. I got this. I'm pretty sure I got it at Amazon too. If not, I got it at Joann's. But the craft wire, specifically that I got once, it is 14 gauge. I can't remember if it was Kenpatsu who had said to use 14 gauge or not. I'm not 100% sure, but I do enjoy using this thinner one as far as the ears go. I'm getting very scared because all my failed attempts show here. Anyway, I'm running low is the point. So yeah, that's what you're gonna need. So for the first step, you are going to be drawing the cat ear on a white sheet of paper. And the reason you want to do this is because you're probably going to be, redrawing it a few times, just because you might want to change the shape or you might want to change the size. And it's just really easy and convenient to do, to draw it on there, put your wig on and put it on top of your head and kind of like gauge how you want it to look. And you can also, easily bend the white piece of paper to just get an idea of how, again, your ear is going to look. So one thing that I really wish people that would give tutorials on this would go into more is the size and just maybe more so the shape of the ear. I will link a tutorial that I really like down below where the girl made a shape similar to this. And I did wind up trying it. I did it in a larger size because I wanted the ear to be bigger. And here's a couple examples of that. But what I didn't realize when I was making the ear is that my brother pointed out that I did not make the length from this, you know, bottom here to the point of the ear high enough on the larger size, and it just winds up creating like a wolf, you know, vibe. It doesn't really give cat. And I wound up playing around with this ear and just cutting it up, and I just prefer how this looks. I feel like it just gives cat more than these. It's just my opinion. But anyway, I wound up tracing this on a piece of paper, and the only thing that I could see going wrong is that since I am tracing this thick, bulky ear, this ear might turn out a little bit bigger. But at this point, you guys, I don't really mind because I have been just going through the trenches trying to figure this out, which is what has prompted me to make this. So if I do wind up really liking the shape, then I don't know, maybe I'll make a follow-up video, or I'll figure out a way to make this like a printable file and maybe link it down below. But my point that I'm trying to get at to you guys is just, you really want to take the first step of drawing it on a paper first. Then after you have done that, then you want to trace it over to cardboard paper. I'm just using a file folder because it works just as well. You really want to do that because you probably are going to be tracing this over and over and over. And, you know, if you're using marker or Sharpie or something like that, it's going to bleed into this and just make it deteriorate. So aside from the size and the shape of the ear, another thing I wish tutorials would go into more detail on is the direction of the fur. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is you really want to make sure that before you cut out your pieces of fur, you really want to make sure that you're triple checking to make sure that the fur is going in the correct direction that you want it to go to. So the easiest way that I can explain this is, for example, right, for the front part of the ear, you want these little, you know, longer pieces of fur for the inner portion of the ear, right? And of course, you're going to want the fur to, you know, stick out like this. So for this side of the ear, you're going to want your fur to be going this direction, right? And so on my pattern here, I went ahead and wrote in and out here on both sides of the ear so that it was easier to show you guys. And I probably should have done this a long time ago because it would have helped me, so maybe you could try it too. But anyway, as you could see, in, out, whenever my best advice to you besides writing in and out would be that once you have your pattern, you want to do the front part of the fabric of the ear, the front part of the ear. You have this laying down, front part of the ear, in, out, and it's matching the direction you want it to go. Just go ahead and take your pattern and tuck it in under the fabric and then flip it over. Because as you can see now, the inside of the ear is on this side and the outside of the ear is on this side. But when you flip your fabric over, it's going in the correct direction. And I can't tell you guys how many times I've just accidentally messed up and just cut out the pattern in the wrong direction, because as you can see, when you move over to the opposite ear, you're going to want the fur, to be facing this direction now. So going this way. Good grief, this way. Sorry, I'm like filming with one hand. Another thing I wish that they would talk about is what direction the fur is going on the back of the ear. I notice with a lot of like the professional ears that they have like this floofy bit at the bottom. So I tried to like recreate that myself. It looks really nice. I can't really do it right now because I'm doing this one-handed, but when you use a lint roller to fluff it up, it looks so nice, right? In case you like how I did it here, I did wind up using the fabric going in a downwards direction to get this. But what I think I'm going to try to do this time around is since I like the pointed shape a lot more and I really don't like how these seams look, even though I'm going to paint over them, I feel like if the fabric was going in an upwards direction, I could cut the fabric even up here, you know, so that I could even have longer pieces of fabric to make it pointier. And I just feel like I could maybe even cover these seams a lot better besides the paint. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just kind of giving you guys information as I'm going along myself. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, that was, I knew I was forgetting something. And along with cutting out, you know, your pieces of the fabric going in the correct direction. If you're working on a character like me, or if you're working on ears where, like, let's say you're working on ears where the back of the cat ear is a different color than the front, you also want to pay attention to that. So for this time around, along with putting the back side of the fur going in an upwards direction, I also want to have a little bit of extra fabric that I could wrap around to bring towards the front so that I could have, like, on the red side of the ear, these little tufts of hair here and here to kind of curve around. I am going to go ahead and have this extra fabric about the halfway mark. I preferred it down here, but I'm just doing it at the halfway mark just for the sake of making sure that when I do the other ear, it's as symmetrical as possible. So I just wanted to point that out as far as, like, probably the easier thing to do would be to just cut out this exact shape so you don't have to do what I'm doing, because I don't even know if I'm going to like it. But I'm just pointing this out in case you're curious, like, hey, why is she cutting out that extra fabric there? Like, what's happening with these lines? Okay, so I am sorry for bouncing around. I had completely forgot about the foam piece that we're going to be putting inside the ear. Like I said before, you know, I'm just trying different things, and so I got lost there, so I apologize. But luckily I kept my paper pattern for the ear. And what I went ahead and did is I just took 0.5 millimeter. I marked 0.5 millimeter all the way around, and I'm going to cut this out and transfer it over to cardboard. I am also trying something different here, so I'm not sure if I'm going to like, you know, how much space I left, because this is a little bit of space. But I'll leave a note here if I wind up doing something different. Okay, so I cut the foam piece out, and then I went ahead and took my wire and wrapped it around. The length of this here for me is like about 1.5 inches. I really don't feel like it has to be too long, at least for the times that I have tried putting it around the headband itself. It's been fine. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto the actual back of the ear here. And I did want to mention that when I'm gluing this foam piece down, I am having it centered here so that I have that border all the way around the ear. So I have glued on the front part of the ear. I just wanted to make a quick note that when I went to glue it down, I, you know, aligned the ear the best I could, and I kind of glued from the top down just so that I can get you know, both the triangle pieces as flush as possible. One thing that I did that I actually wound up liking before I glued on the front piece is that I went ahead and I took like a good amount, even though I'm probably not going to be using this entire amount, but just in case, I took a good amount of the fur here that's going to be, you know, like the long pieces of fur. I set it to the side and I shaved down this entire back end of the ear, and I shaved it down using the 3 millimeter guard here, and I feel like it helped me like align it really well. And on top of that, I was actually kind of worried when I made this, or when I did this, because I was like, oh, well, it would have been nice. I'm still kind of thinking about it, honestly, but it would have been nice if I would have had some longer tufts of fur here to kind of blend in with this red. But I don't imagine that I'm going to be keeping this very long. So it actually works out well, this 3 millimeter length, because as you could see here, it kind of like, you know, blends in there, and I really like that. What I went ahead is after I glued it on, I went ahead and I took my scissors and I just, you know, cut the fur off as close to that actual fabric there as possible. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and play with the fur and see, you know, what I'm going to do as far as like to shape it up, and then I'll let you guys know what I did. So I just wanted to show you guys that I put hot glue on that little end there, and then I just tightly wrapped the fur, the excess fur on top of that and glued it down. So I'm just going to cut off this piece here. I'm going to go ahead and just glue down the inner part of the ear because I'm just like, honestly, I keep overthinking things and it's not even turning out how I'm like, you know, anyway. So I just took my scissors and I just took off this little bit here, just because like it actually worked out nicely here. As you can see, like this fur is kind of going in the direction of the longer hair here. So I'm just going to have it overlap a little bit, so that it does give the effect of like, you know, it blending in more. I hope I'm making sense. Another thing I wanted to show is I'm going to go ahead and like all these little holes here where I could fill in with hot glue. I'm going to go ahead and do that so I can press them down together. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and just clean off like the edges here, like where they're not aligned. Okay, so this is what the ear looks like so far, without any shading or anything. And I really like, or even fixing it properly, but anyway, I really like how it looks so far. So I'm going to let you guys know exactly what I did. So I did wind up making the thickness of where I left the fur long here on the inner part of the ear. I did wind up thinning it down. I would move it, but I'm only using one hand. And like I said, I will definitely probably make a better tutorial. But anyway, it does kind of like, it goes, there's like a thinner bit of fur here, and it does kind of go out like this as far as like, I'll just go ahead and move it, whatever, I'll just go ahead and move it. As you can see here, whoop, I knew I wasn't going to be good at that with one hand. As you can see, it's thinner up here, a little bit thicker down here, but either way, I'm not done fixing that yet, but anyway, either way, I made it thinner. You know, the chunk that I had before, you can kind of see here that that was the longer fur from before. This is a thinner amount. So anyway, here, in the inner part of the ear here, I actually wound up taking the shaver. Good grief, why am I forgetting words all the time? Okay, I wound up taking the shaver, and without anything on the blade itself, I wound up passing it along like in this way, because I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I just assume that if I go this way with the razor facing this way and I'm cutting through there, it's going to get a lot closer to the fabric, and it's going to take more fur off. So instead I did it this way because I just felt like the inside of the ear needed to be a little bit more thinned out. I kept the 3 millimeter length here just because, again, I'm just regretting that I didn't leave it longer to blend in with this, but honestly, it doesn't look that bad, and I'm just going to go ahead and move forward, and, you know, for next time, I'll leave that longer there. I did go ahead and I used the razor and my scissor to kind of shape these long pieces of fur. And what I did for that is I put on this 9 millimeter what is it called again? Head. And I kind of passed it through a little bit, just, you know, I highly recommend you work really, really slow here, because, you know, you can't put it back, and that's super, super important. So really slowly, I kind of passed it through, like more on the ends of it, just to like trim it a bit. And I passed the razor, I'll just put it on here. Good grief. Okay, pretend it's on the razor. I pass the razor down like this, doing this motion like this, so that I could have smaller tufts of the fur up here and just kind of go down like this. Again, I did it super, super cautiously because I'm just working overall on the whole ear. I'd rather take a little bit off at a time than just say, you know, oh crap, I messed up. Because even on the back of the ear, I'm not sure if I'm gonna thin it out more or not, but at this point I just like how it looks. So anyway, moving on to the back of the ear. Sorry. For this top part here, so as you can see, the fur is like shorter on this top part of the ear. I sectioned this off with my little tail of the comb there, and then I took this 3mm head and I just passed it through, and when I did pass it through, again, I was going really slow, and I do think that it helps with the layering and just the blend of the fur, at least in my opinion. As far as like, I would pass it through to the left, right, up and down, and then you know, I just kept kind of pushing a little bit harder, putting the blade just a little bit, pressing it down more, so that I could get like a closer, thinner shave here for the top part of the ear. And I did wind up not pressing it as much up here because, again, this was kind of like what I was going for. I wanted to keep these little tufts of hair up here for the top to just really, you know, emphasize the cat hair, or the point of the cat ear shape. Good grief. And then for the bottom here, for these longer tufts of hair, I went back in with the 9mm head, and I just, you know, made it go down. For now, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it as it is, because I feel like when I hairspray the fur down in certain directions after shading and everything like that, and actually trying it on with my wig and shaping it and stuff, then I'll go back in and fine tune it. But yeah. Okay, I just wanted to show this ear real quick. It doesn't look the best again. I'm keeping a lot of it on there until I actually try it on with the wig. But I just wanted to show on this side how I did prefer leaving like the long fur. I definitely had to trim it down. I wound up using the 3mm, good grief, the 3mm. But first I went in with the 9mm to take it, you know, to trim it down, and then I kind of use the 3 here to blend it in, and just to show like a comparison, which I know, you know, the white one, this is, you know, an all white ear, so of course it's gonna blend better in general, but I know in my head that if I would have left this longer, instead of having those blunt cuts there, I would have just made it a little bit longer to just blend in with that red. But either way, I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. At this point, I'm not sure if I'm going to use eyeshadow or if I'm going to use spray paint to paint the inside of the ear. I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but that was another thing I wanted to say to you guys, that it turned out to be a happy accident that I used pink foam, because I just had scrap pink foam from a project from many years ago. As you can see, the pink peeks through. I really, really like that. It gets covered anyway, so it's really not that deep, but I'm going to continue to use pink foam whenever I make ears. Okay, so this is the final look. I wanted to quickly address, because the last time I started to show the ear progress, I did not mention that I had already started trying to like play with bending the ear shape around, the reason I did that was just because I just wasn't sure, like I've been saying, as far as like how long I wanted to keep the length of the fur and everything like that. And unfortunately, it took me such a long time to get them symmetrical that I'm not going to flatten them out for you, but I am going to say, you know, as you can see here, the ear is kind of bent inward like this, like in a C shape, it's also bent inward here as well, but it also has this kind of like twist that I did there. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, moving forward, I wanted to let you guys know that I did wind up shaving like the back part of the ear, where it's shorter here. I did wind up shaving it completely down with the 3mm. So basically when I had the ear down on the desk, I pressed it all the way down and pushed it around to get like an even closer cut. And I did wind up putting just a little bit of hairspray just to keep that hair up and just really laid down. But I'll probably add more hairspray and stuff. As you can see, this kind of fur is moving around a bit. And this I did, you know, wind up brushing down and trying to blend into each other. But like I said, when I actually put on the cosplay and I have everything together, that's when I'll probably add more hairspray to everything. I also wound up cutting down more of these inner longer parts of the ear, because as you can see, when you bend the cat ear in, you have a smaller space. And so I was kind of in a situation where these long pieces of fur were completely covering the ears. I kind of feel like it might look even slightly better if I take a little bit more off, but I'm just so scared right now, guys. I just don't want to do anything that's gonna just jeopardize me being able to use these. I am gonna live stream on TikTok and work on some other ears that I want to try out, and I'll probably make the inside of the ear shorter, and I'll see how that works out. And if I like that, I'll come back to these. But for now, I'm just gonna leave them at this length. And then another thing that I wanted to address is as you saw in the previous video, I had the really long tufts of fur on the sides of the ear here, because I just wanted to see like if I would have liked that for a future year. I did not wind up liking that. So that's where we have like, I feel like honestly they could probably be shorter there and even on the outside here, but I don't know. I don't know why I want it to be like really obvious that there's like, it's like a fluffy ear for whatever reason. And then finally, I wound up using eyeshadow instead of spray paint because I knew eyeshadow works. Again, not wanting to take any risks. I put, I should probably tell you guys what I used, even though honestly you could use any eyeshadow, but I wound up using this pink here from the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil. And I really like the color on that, but it really, like, you could really use any eyeshadow. And I used literally this angled eyeshadow brush that I don't like anymore to you know, get that outline there. And then for the inside, I use this like rounded paintbrush to really get in the fur. I put it all in here, all up to that where the long pieces of the inner ear start. And then I also took it around here and traced it at the very edge of where the long pieces of fur start. And I kind of, you know, blended it out a little bit. And probably next time I'll link a tutorial down below where the girl, she wound up using like blue painter's tape so that, you know, she'd get a nice clean line here. I'll probably try that for the next time. I really think I'm going to wind up using spray paint in general, but just a thought there in case you are using eyeshadow and you're like, hey, I want a cleaner line. That's an idea there. And then the last thing that I wanted to say is that probably for next time as well, I'm not going to wrap the ears onto the headband. As far as like if I'm trying to figure out size and shape still, whatever, because it's been a hassle because I've been having to move them around. Like when I'm working on them, I don't want them like in the actual position that they'll be sitting on my ear because they get in the way of each other. So next time I'll probably just bend it once, and when I put it on my head, I'll just kind of, you know, have the wire sticking out back here or something. But overall, I really hope that this video was helpful in some sort of way. I know that these don't look the greatest and they could look better, but I just thought I'd share some information that I wish I would have had. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Please like the video, and maybe check out my other tutorials. Thank you so much. Bye.